Next thing you know, we're advising the White House on that. So that's how we got to the White. I know. When I think about me running around killing snakes in Liberia, like none of this was a part of the story. And this is a really important point. I had not thought of myself as a technologist. I studied political science and management in college, no engineering. And so I went through this 5-day process where you had to go through interview after interview. And at the end, they gave me a job. And I was like surprised because there were people who were engineers for life in college who did not get hired to this company.
Oh, wow.
When I got there, I was thrown into learning how to program in C in 3 weeks, and I learned it. So it was clear that I was a technologist, but I didn't know it.
Just like you didn't know you was a writer, author.
That part right there.
Multi-talented.
And so once I figured out that I actually was a technologist, I kind of just leaned in. And so I did a lot of work at Accenture, and through that work, I got recruited to go work for the New York Stock Exchange. Our computer systems weren't able to measure beyond 5 minutes. And if you know anything about Wall Street and the stock exchange, we were literally processing billions of transactions a day. So from a latency and processing perspective, 5 minutes is like nothing. So I'm like, we need to figure out how to measure this in milliseconds. And so I built systems to do that. And they took off so well that they sent me all across the world to teach people how to do that at other exchanges, 11 other exchanges around the world. Showed people in London, in Paris, in Amsterdam, in Belfast how to do it.
Behind the curtains where the lights don't glow. Lights, cameras rolling, it's time for the show. You've got all access now, baby. You're here with Jazzy Bell. Let the show begin. No rules, no maps, just follow the spin. You got the backstage pass, yeah. You got all access now with Jazzy Bell. Let the show begin. You got the backstage pass, yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to All Access with Jazzy Bell. And on this show is where I take you all across the globe and let you know where to go and who to know. And today I have an amazing guest. She is a technologist, author, and serial entrepreneur, and the owner of this here studio called The CTRL ROOM in the heart of Jersey City. Y'all say hello to Racheal Fosu. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I am thrilled.
First of all, this place looks amazing, and you complimented just as much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Thanks. I can't wait to get into all the things. We're going to have a little fun. First of all, I want to shout out my good friend Jasmine of Jasmine Caribbean Cuisine for letting me know all things about you and connecting us here.
Absolutely.
So let's get right into it, all right?
All right.
I want to talk about some of the humble beginnings.
Oh, okay.
Before you got to be the big boss lady that you are today. So talk to me about where you are originally from.
I am from Liberia, West Africa. Born and raised. Actually came to Jersey City when I was first 12 years old. And honestly, I didn't like it. Growing up in a tropical country, I just loved being able to run around outdoors, not have to wear a jacket. I came in the wintertime.
Yikes.
And so next thing I go from being jacketless all my life to having to wear a jacket and boots and trudge through the snow. And it was not my thing. And folks made fun of me because I apparently had an accent. So socially, I think it was just awkward for me at that point. And so I cried for 3 months straight and went back home. But came back a second time. And this time when I was 14. And I ended up finishing high school in Jersey City. I ended up getting my first apartment in Jersey City. I went to St. Peter's University for a little bit in Jersey City. And I've now owned, this is my third business in Jersey City.
Third business. See, hence why I said serial entrepreneur.
I am Jersey City girl. I am
Yeah.
a Jersey City girl.
I bet ain't nobody teasing you now.
No, they're not. Because I can go African and I can go American with the accent.
Right. So from Liberian girl to
Yes,
Jersey girl.
That's right.
And I see that it was a huge culture shock, of course,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Well, what made you come here? What was happening in Liberia that,
Right,
that made you
right.
settle into Jersey City?
Right. So the second time around, there was a lot of unrest starting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is that my mom really wanted more opportunity for me. You know, it's wild because after I wrote my first book, she said to me, you know, I knew you would write a book. And I was like, what? Like, I never envisioned myself being an author at that point.
Yeah.
But apparently I had written this essay in 11th grade in high school that she'd read and was like, wow, she can really write. She may have said it. I probably didn't even enter my real psyche at that point.
Yeah.
And so when I wrote a book, she was like, yeah, I knew you were going to be an author. And so I think she felt as if there was a lot more educational opportunity for me in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And she made that happen. And she worked 3 jobs in Jersey City and around Jersey City
Yeah.
to make sure I could go to a private school and graduate.
Shout out to Mama.
Shout out to Mom, who is now in New Zealand right now, having the time of her life for a quick second.
I know that's right. Mama
Yes,
traveling the
your
world.
Mama is.
That's what you get it from. I see.
Exactly.
All
Yes.
the fabulousness. So Wall Street,
Yes.
when it comes to being a technologist,
Yes.
talk to me how you went from the unrest that was happening. I like the way you put that in
Yes.
Liberia to Wall Street and then the White House.
Oh yeah. Oh, you have you got all the tea.
Yeah, I'm a journalist. I do my work.
Got all the tea. Okay. All right.
You're here for a reason. I need
Yes.
people to know who to know.
Yes,
I told you where to
yes.
go,
Oh, wow.
control room, and who to know. So please
got
talk
all
to
the
me how
tea.
you went
Okay.
from Liberia
Right.
to Wall Street and the White
Right.
House.
Okay. Short story is, so I came, obviously, finished high school. I was ahead of my class, all right? So
Yeah.
I finished actually at 16. And I ended up doing college courses at St. Peter's, shout out, in Jersey City.
Yeah.
And ended up going to Rutgers, did my undergrad there. And at the end of my undergrad career, that last couple of weeks of school,
Mm-hmm.
they had this system where you could apply. Got a call from a company called Accenture. Now, I had not, and this is a really important point, I had not thought of myself as a technologist. I studied political science and management in college, no engineering. And so I went through this 5-day process where you had to go through interview after interview. And at the end, they gave me a job. And I was like, surprised, because there were people who were engineers for life in college who did not get hired to this company.
Oh, wow.
When I got there, I was thrown into learning how to program in C in 3 weeks, and I learned it. So it was clear that I was a technologist, but I didn't know it.
Just like you didn't know you was a writer author.
That part right there.
Mm-hmm. Multi-talented.
Yeah. And so once I figured out that I actually was a technologist, I kind of just leaned in. And so I did a lot of work at Accenture. And through that work, I got recruited to go work for the New York Stock Exchange. And next thing I know, every area that they threw me into, I learned and was able to just do and get comfortable with it. I'm like, okay, what else you got? Like,
Throw
what
it at
else?
me.
Bring it, right? And
Right.
so eventually I noticed, which is the biggest thing I did at NICE, was that our computer systems weren't able to measure beyond 5 minutes. And if you know anything about Wall Street and the stock exchange, we were literally processing billions of transactions a day.
Oh.
So from a latency and processing perspective, 5 minutes is like nothing. So I'm like, we need to figure out how to measure this in milliseconds. And so my charge became making sure we could measure all of our critical systems in milliseconds. And so I built systems to do that. And they took off so well that they sent me all across the world to teach people how to do that at other exchanges, 11 other exchanges around the world. Showed people in London, in Paris, in Amsterdam, in Belfast how to do it. Had teams in all of those places. And then it was like, okay, let's do nanoseconds next, right? And so from that perspective, I just fell into it, fell in love with it. And then I hit a glass ceiling as a Black young woman in corporate America at the time, just frankly. And I say it now comfortably because it just is what it was. At the time, people were not comfortable taking orders from a young woman who knew this much stuff at that age. They were like, yeah, no, you just no. And I got tired of it. My husband had passed away at that point. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to take a brief moment. And in doing that, I waited and found the right opportunity came to me.
Okay.
Which goes to the White House experience. A guy called me from Silicon Valley and said, hey, I've heard about you. I want you to join my team. Sure. So I joined the team, rose pretty quickly, came on as a technology advisor, became the CTO and then the COO. And we had to pitch something and with a real estate company out of DC, a big real estate company out of DC. And when we started pitching, I'm like, no, this is absolutely wrong. We're not doing it this way. Let's rework it. So when we reworked the presentation and it was for the White House, came to find out later it was for the White House.
Oh.
And so they were like, okay, well, you reworked this whole presentation and you really understand it. So you need to present it. I showed up and I presented it. And
who was in the White House at the time?
Joe Biden.
Okay.
So this was 2 years ago.
This was
very recent.
Yeah.
And so presented it and they fell in love with it. And they asked us to do more because it was focused on building a space for underserved talent in the cybersecurity space and teaching young underserved people how to become cybersecurity talent and employees, which we desperately need in our country.
Right.
And so they fell in love with the idea, asked me to come back, our team to come back, and said, hey, we want you to come and see something. And the funniest story ever, we get there, right? So you have to go through all this stuff, right? The background check and everything. And you get to the White House and we get in. And when we get in, we get an email about what we're actually going to do. They don't tell you till you get in the building.
Okay.
Right? So we get the email and I look at my boss and he's the founder and he's like, oh. So they take us literally to a back room where we have to review policy and make recommendations on policy around teaching underserved populations and just cyber security technology development and education, which was something they were about to pitch to the entire country.
Whoa.
So we were like, oh, okay. I mean, it literally felt like a movie, right? So we're in this room and we couldn't take the files from one room to the next. They hand you the files. You do your research, your analysis, you make your recommendations. They take the files back from you to go to the next room. But yeah, so we did that. And it next thing you know, we're advising the White House on that. So that's how we got to the White. I know when I think about me running around killing snakes in Liberia, like none of this was a part of the story.
None of this was part of the story, but here we are today.
Here we are.
That is such an amazing journey. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I mean, you built these infrastructures for a lot of us today.
Yeah.
We don't even know it.
No.
And you're the face and the brains behind the operation.
Yeah.
Kudos to you, sis.
During COVID, when the exchange was able to run, just run, that's because we did a lot of work to make sure that happened beforehand. They didn't just do it on the fly. Like we did a lot of work to make sure that happened.
Talk to me when it comes to control room.
Yes.
We talked about Liberia to Jersey City.
I know.
From Jersey City to Wall Street to the White House.
Yeah.
Doing all of this, by the way, being a mom and a wife.
Yes.
And now we here at Control Room Podcast Studio.
Yeah.
But it's more than a podcast studio after just getting a
It
tour
is.
from you earlier.
It is.
Jeez, Louise. Talk to me. How did we get here?
So my husband passed away 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago to 2025. We're
Sorry to hear
opening
that.
on January 11th for a reason.
Okay.
His birthday was January 1st,
Nice.
1973. And so the number 1 and the number 11 means a lot to me.
It's very biblical.
Yeah. So that's why we're using that date. But as I started to reflect and my older son got to high school, I remember a conversation in our kitchen and we were just having one of those arguments where it felt like we were just talking past each other. And he said to me, Mom, you're not really listening to me. And for some reason, it struck me differently that day. And he then went off to college, and we grew closer, honestly, when he was away at college.
Mhm.
So when he came back last year, I took 40 days at the beginning of last year, and I meditated on, and I fasted, and I prayed about what should my next move be. And it came to me during that time that you really got to figure out how to have more conversations with your two sons, because the truth of the matter is, as a mom at the time who lost her husband with young sons, I was focused on securing our financial future, right? And so I was traveling a lot. Now I took them a lot of places with me. They've been to China, they've been to London, they've been to Italy. I took them as much as I could, but I was not a stay-at-home mom, right? And so there were some conversations we skipped, in my opinion. And so it came to me that I should start a podcast where we just talked about those conversations. That's what started my podcast, What Your Mama Didn't Tell You.
What your mama didn't tell you.
Yes.
I love the title.
Yes, because I felt like there were a lot of things we still needed to talk about.
Yeah.
So we started talking and doing that. And as I was doing that, I met my mentor, Dave Shantz, and I had been praying for what to do with this space for a very long time. This space.
You already had it prior to making it into...
I had it. It was an overflow space for preschools that I own in the area.
Got it.
So I own 2 preschools in the area, and this was overflow. So during the summer months, we would do our camps here and other things.
Nice.
But I felt like it was not at its full potential.
Fully utilized.
Yeah, fully utilized. And so it came to me in that moment, why not do a podcast studio, right? Because our podcast started to take off so quickly without a lot of real advertising that I realized there was a need. When we looked at the analytics, it really was young men between 18 and 35. And we were like, wow. I said, okay, we really should figure out how to continue to reach this group. Because in my opinion, again, as a mom to 2 sons, I feel like young men need the focus on them right now. And I love young women. I mentor a lot of young women, but that's just my position at this point. And so it made sense to start something that beyond just it being content creation, I want this to be a safe space where young men, can learn about options and opportunities out there for them. And especially in the digital content creation technology space, and understand that you can be a creative and a technologist. So my focus, and I say this is a studio with a purpose. And I mean it. And I mean it because I know young men need community. I know they need direction. I know they need their mama there.
Yes.
And I am a mama, and so I understand that.
Yes.
And I know that other people agree with me. So it's my hope that those people will help see the vision come to be.
I think it's important what you're saying when it comes to young men, especially young Black men, especially young Black men that are raised with just a mother in the household. I was fortunate enough to have both parents in the household. But when you think about some of the single mothers out there that are raising Black boys, sometimes they don't know how to navigate certain conversations, right?
Absolutely.
And sometimes they don't feel like the mother themselves don't feel like they're being heard. And of course, the kids, like you said earlier, your son was like, "Mommy, I feel like you're not listening to me." When it comes to having those difficult conversations, because of the title, What My Mama Didn't Tell Me, what did you realize you didn't tell your son that you said, okay, I'm going to say it on this here show, on this here podcast?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot, a lot. And so we started, I think our first episode was about Kanye West.
Okay.
Right.
So
And so,
good.
right. So we're driving to church and my son is listening to Kanye West. Now, I used to love Kanye West, Jesus Walks, right? And when he came out, that resonated with me and I loved all the music. And so my son is listening to some new song he has out that's a Christian song on our way to church. And I had just seen him on the Grammys with his wife in a nude outfit. And so I said to my son, now, how are you reconciling these two things, right? You're listening to him here, but his wife was. And so he tried to explain it and we could not see eye to eye. So I said, you know what? That would be a great first podcast episode. And so we started there, which was like, how do you connect, right, your spirituality with a guy who has his wife in this nude outfit because I got issues with it, right?
Right.
And so we started having those kind of conversations. And I actually learned some stuff from his perspective that made me realize that, okay, yeah, you may not agree, but who are we to judge?
Oh, come on now.
Right? And so we came to maybe not agreement, but understanding. And I think as moms raising sons, you know, one of the things that comes out in our podcast this year is that you got to be able to let them go and fall and just be available to catch them. I'll give you a perfect example.
Okay.
My oldest son, I desperately wanted to be here tomorrow for our opening. I told him about it. Devin has a girlfriend. He's been away from the girlfriend for a month because he's been home. And apparently the girlfriend must be in his ear saying, come home, come to Chicago, because he lives in Chicago. And so I'm like, okay, but you could stay one more day for this thing. He's like, Mom, I made a commitment and I have to honor my word. And I'm sitting there going, you know, I just want to sit this little boy down, you know,
and be mama bear.
Yes, right. And say, I need you to be here. And it was the hardest thing dropping him off at the airport today because I was just like, and I was like, well, I'm sure if you tell the girl the reason why, she'll be okay. He's like, but that's not the point. Yes, I'm sure she would agree, but I made a commitment and I'm going to honor that. And I don't want to make it be her guilt that says I'm going to not come do it. And I was like,
that's
okay,
a mature young man.
Right.
You're raising him well.
You know, so that's why I say, when I say like those kind of conversations, we have an episode coming out that I have not seen. I don't know if I will see it. Jazzy actually sat in my chair, Jasmine.
Yes.
And had a conversation with them about grief.
Yes.
And losing their dad.
Yes.
And things that I probably didn't do well during that process, I think are going to come out.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. I've gotten a lot better, I believe, because I was grieving and they were grieving.
Right.
And so there may have been some things that I could have probably done differently, but didn't. And I think that may come out. So it's a lot to talk about. I feel like for me, acknowledging that I didn't do it perfectly, I did the best I could, is the starting point of having conversations and truly hearing them and understanding that as young men, I cannot baby them. I have to give them that room to fall and learn and grow. And a lot of the guys that I know who are friends of mine are great about reminding me about that. And that helps me be able to just pull off the reins because it's hard.
I know it is. Listen, you know, it's a big thing in our community. Yes. When it comes to mothers and their young sons. Or this their sons, period. Yes. My mother is no longer here, but when she was here, we would tease her like, you treat the boys way differently than you treat me and my two sisters. It's 10 of us all together. And my 7 brothers, we always felt they got special treatment. Yes. So that's a thing when it comes to black moms.
It's absolutely true.
So I know it was hard when you had to drop him off for him to see his girl in Chicago. You're like, but our mama.
I know. And I don't feel bad for the girl.
Right.
But I just was like, wow, he's really this is a man decision.
The podcast studio.
Yes.
Again, the importance of mentorship. Talk to me about how you connected with David.
Right. So David doesn't even fully know this story. He knows parts of it. So it's weird because it came through my feed and he was having a podcast summit in Atlanta. And now, as I said, I had now decided, I want to do this. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to pretend I'm the expert at this. I need to go and learn from people who are doing this well. So it came into my feed and I decided to go. I went and I sat in the front row in the middle. I was like, I'm going to absorb everything they got to give me and do my research. So I sat there and then he had a private event that I was invited to. So I went to that and I met him. And one of the girls there said, listen, Dave, you gotta give us like 3 days, like uninterrupted 3 days.
Yeah.
So he decided to do it. And about maybe 20 people were invited to that. At the end of it, I went up to him and I said, Dave, I want you to be my mentor. And he was like, yeah. David's really laid back. He's like super chill.
Yeah.
And so he was like, okay. You know, of course, he asks certain questions because he wants to make sure that you're serious.
Yeah, don't
right?
waste nobody's time.
Yeah.
And he didn't know you like that, obviously.
Exactly.
Because you ain't wasting no time.
No, he did not know all this at that point.
But at this point, you said you guys did spend about 3 days together.
Yes.
So he knew a little bit of you, your background. He's getting to know all the 20 people that were invited.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm sure he has his perspective on what he saw. And then I said to him also, I said, listen, I also want your help with this podcast studio because I've decided during this session that I'm going to open a podcast studio. And he was like, all right, let's do it. They flew in here with his team, I think like 2 weeks later. So I ended up taking him to my house, him and his team, they came to my house and we sat around the table and we just plotted it all out. And 9 weeks later, we're here.
Everything that you just showed me
Everything
today?
I showed you, 8 weeks.
This took 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
I ain't surprised.
8
I ain't
weeks.
surprised.
8
Based
weeks.
off what you told me earlier.
8
I mean,
weeks.
you didn't know you were a writer.
Nah.
Here you go, author. You didn't know that you were a technologist and decoding things until they told you can do it.
Yeah.
And you did it. So
8 weeks.
all of this makes sense. Like the way you break down your journey.
Uh-huh.
Listen, when you want to do something, you got to acquire the specialized knowledge that makes it all come into fruition.
Mm-hmm.
So you did the right thing. And I want to really emphasize on this because we all have ideas. We all want to do things and people think things will happen overnight. And although we're saying it did, but it didn't.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was a lot of
It
work.
took a lot of work, but it also take the mindset, right? To say this is what you want to do and taking the proper steps, like getting a mentor, finding the place, getting the right people connected to make it happen successfully.
Absolutely.
And
the humility.
Yeah.
To know what you don't know.
That part. Yeah, again, you don't know everything.
I don't know everything.
Hire somebody that knows what they're doing.
Right. Like you asked earlier about the difference between success and greed, but I would say the limiting factor of success, if you're not careful, can be not being humble. Right? And so, I've done a lot of things in my life, but I could have let that make me think I knew how to do this without the right mentor.
I thought about that too.
Right? But I don't. I knew, Racheal, you're going to have to sit down at the feet and learn. And I'm still going to be a student in a lot of ways.
What was the science behind the name? What made you settle on that name?
I know, right? So I feel like over the past 4 or 5 years, the word control has been misused and mishandled, I would say.
Yeah.
When you think of control, people think of control as something that needs to be you're commanding. Whereas my idea of control is very positive in nature, about influencing. Right? So when we say my control room, we don't mean come and command people. We mean come and understand how you utilize control to positively influence people and still arrive at a shared goal or even a better goal than using control in what could be sometimes a toxic way. We're non-toxic over here.
Non-toxic over here.
Yes.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
I love that. Now, before I let you go, like we talked through a lot. We talked about grieving. We talked about your journey again for being, being from Liberia to come here to the States and almost being a 2-time author. We working on that second book.
We're going to be next this year. The second book is coming out this year.
Everything that you're doing with your 2 sons and the opportunities that you're giving to young men here in the community as well. When it's all said and done, the state that you're in right now, if you had to sum it up in one word, how would you describe the state that you're in? What would it be?
I said it best as blissfully tired. Grateful, humble, blissfully tired. There's that good tired. It's the best way I can say it. It's the good tired. It's the pursuit of passion. It's being in your passion place. People tell you what it is, but when you're in it and you feel it and you wake up and it's all you think about and you get up earlier and you go to bed later because you're driven, it's a passionately happy, tired, blissful place, knowing that a lot of people will be touched by this space. And I can't wait.
You gave me like 10 words. Blissfully tired. I'm going to take 2 for you.
Yeah, just take it. Take any two. Any other two. I would say blissfully tired.
We're going to blend that together and make it one word. Blissfully tired. I love that. That means you are in alignment with what it is you're supposed to be doing here on earth. And I see God shining his light on you. So
Oh, thank you.
congratulations on that. And thank you so much for being here. And that is a wrap here for All Access with Jazzy Bell here on Pixel Lovin'. Make sure y'all tune in every Sunday right here. And thank you all for watching. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Behind the curtains where the lights don't glow. Lights, cameras roll.